Hello everyone, I am Anushree and I welcome you all to my card making tutorial for Craftangle's design team. Today I'll be making 3 cards for the upcoming festival of Diwali. I'm going to share metallic watercoloring ideas along with alcohol marker coloring and some stamping, and not to forget the embellishment since it's Diwali. So let's begin. I'm going to use these 3 stamp sets for today's cards. These are Diwali Sentiment stamp set, Ganpati Bappa stamp set and Celebrating Diwali mini stamp set. I have chosen these bright colors for my card bases, and this is my scoreboard. Let's start scoring these paper. After scoring, my card size would be A2, so it's approximately 4.5 into 5.5 inches. I have scored all the 3 panels, all the 3 card bases off screen, and it's time to score them neatly. So here they look as the card bases. I have cut these 3 watercolor panels. These are 3 by 3 inches, and I'm going to use metallic watercolor on these panels to create backgrounds. These watercolors comes in pans, and you can easily add water to it to start coloring. I have added some amount of water. You can see the droplets on the pan. See, the pans are already filled with so much of color. If you feel the water has dried up a bit, you can always put more water. For this first card panel, the watercolor panel, I am going to use shades of red, orange and yellow. I am going to brush it vertically, diagonally. I am not going to apply water on the paper directly because I do not want the colors to smudge, and I want to have some texture on this panel. This is how the metallic watercolor looks like. After drying also it looks almost same. For the second one, I'm going ahead with some shades of blues, the purples and pinks. So I've started with a darker tone of pink and going ahead with purple. I prefer watering the pan then watering the paper, and there only if more water we are taking directly, that kind of mixing can happen on the paper as well. I'm adding some blues as well here and some green tones also. I've kept my strokes horizontal, not much of smudging so that the texture can be seen easily. For my last and the third one, I'm going to move my brush in circular motion. I've chosen shades of green for this one, and we'll be adding small amount of colors so that some sort of mixing can happen easily here. For this panel, I've taken little bit water extra so that the mixing can be seen easily. You can compare that with the other two where the textures are clear, but here the texture is not that clear. More of smudging and more of mixing of the watercolor is there. They look bright and they dry with same brightness. Next, I'm going to assign these watercolor panels to my colorful card bases. I think this earthen tone watercolor panel looks good with the orange card base. The purple one can go with the red and the green one can go with the yellow. For my orange color card panel, I'll start making the pattern, the background for this card. I am going ahead with Diwali Sentiment stamp set, and I've chosen these small diyas images to create the background pattern. I'm inking it with the red toned ink and start creating the pattern. Firstly, I'll go and ink the same stamp set all over the panel. I have left the spaces for the other image. For my second image, I'm again inking it with the red ink only, and now I'm going to ink it to the leftover places. You can try creating any other design or any other pattern. I'm going to stamp the sentiment from the same stamp set. This sentiment reads, "May this festival of lights brighten your life and brings happiness, joy and prosperity for you and your family." It is a beautiful sentiment and I'm inking it with my Versa Fine ink. I'm also using my stamping tool for this because sometimes when we are stamping, it doesn't come that neat and we need to go back and stamp it again. I'm also starting to use the Celebrating Diwali mini stamp set for my other card, and I'll stamp it aside on the same stamping tool. There are these 3 images. These are small images, and I'm going to put all of them together rather than placing them separately and stamping. The sentiment also I'm going to place right now only. But the difference would be that the small images I'm going to stamp using the Memento ink, because that will be helpful when I am going to color them with the alcohol markers. You can see I'm using the Memento ink right now to ink these, and I haven't inked the sentiment here. For the sentiment part, I'll be using Versa Fine ink. Before going forward, I'm going to clean these images and remove them from the tool so that I do not get the ink again on my paper. Now my sentiment is only left on the tool and I'm inking it with Versa Fine ink. This is a much crisper ink, and that is why for sentiment I prefer using Versa Fine ink. Here we go. Let's stamp it. Stamping tool is very good or very useful when you feel you are not able to stamp that neatly or that crisp in one go. You can always ink the image again and stamp on the same place. Without the tool, it's very difficult to go back and stamp there. My stamped images are ready and it's time to color these cute Diwali images. I'm using Copic markers here. These are alcohol markers. For the green shade, I'm using Nile green. For the red one, it's cadmium red, and the yellow one is acid yellow. Since the images are small, I'm just touching them with a very small amount of color. I feel the coloring is done. I do not need to fill in more color to it. I'm going to fussy cut these images off screen. For this Ganpati Bappa stamp set, I have stamped the Bappa image with Memento ink since I want to use alcohol markers for coloring on this. Coming back to my orange card panel and my earthen toned watercolor panel, this is how my sentiment is going to be adhered. I'm using Diwali sentiment stamp set for this card. I used Ganpati Bappa stamp set for my red card panel, along with the pink and purples and blues metallic watercolor panel. My Ganpati Bappa is going to be in the center along with the sentiment below that. For the yellow card panel, I am going to use the Celebrating Diwali mini stamp set. The panel is again going to be at the same place. This one is the green panel. The sentiment is going to be below that, and these images are going to be on the watercolored panel. I'm going to adhere all these off screen. I have adhered crystal beads to all of my cards to complete them. To my red card base, I've added white crystals, and to the orange one, I've added the golden ones. I have added them in different styles. The yellow one, I have completely done the border with the light pink tone crystals. Hope you enjoyed the making and found the tutorial useful. See you next time with more inspiration. Till then, bye bye. Happy Diwali once again to everyone. Have a good day.